Hey everybody, Rosematter here, and welcome to part 7 of my Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Let's Play. In the last episode, we wrapped up the second case, and similar to the first one, it was kind of like a bittersweet conclusion with, like, yay, we solved the case, I was found innocent, but also it was kind of unsatisfying this time because of the fact it was all just a tragic accident, it turned out. The culprit, unlike the first case, was not malicious, didn't mean to kill anybody, and it was just all like misunderstandings and the loss of a life that didn't need to happen. So that's kind of a bummer. But on the plus side, Ryunosuke is going to be taking Kazuma's place, as, figured was going to happen, and go to Britain with Susato and Herlock. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Them running around in England together. That should be fun. So let's go ahead, let's start the third case, and let's see if Ryunosuke is going to be accused of yet another murder. Alright, episode 3. The Adventure of the Runaway Room.
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London.
Oh yay, another locked room situation. A moving locked room.
And the perpetrator were the only ones inside. There were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner. My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, once said of the incident,
I believe that perhaps that case was indeed
the prelude. The beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together.
Amazing. Is this really just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
And look at all the steam locomotives. This country is incredible.
It's gotta be quite the culture shock, I imagine. They look very dapper in their winter outfits.
Like I'm dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
Climb aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure. I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay. And welcome to the centre of the world, Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
From what I know about London in the 1900s, it looks very nice, but apparently it was a very stinky, stinky city to live in. They're kind of brushing all that aside. Well, look at this. Very steampunk looking. Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense, right? Like when the last place it took in November, but obviously it's a very long journey to Great Britain from Japan. It's just like, oh yeah, my goodness, I am so glad that we don't have to do that anymore. Have to go in a ship for 6 months to get somewhere. Ugh. What an incredible place. It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. This place is breathtaking. Looks like a fortress. Let's hope we get... Like, I didn't mind so much the investigation part, but I really hope that we're actually going to get a trial. Assuming we're at the Supreme Court, I'm assuming that we will get a trial this time. There are some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course. but they've only just been built in the few short decades since we opened our borders to the outside world. An authentic example like this has quite a different impact, wouldn't you agree? A far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed from. It's certainly unfamiliar. But I think there's more to the differences than just construction materials. What is this place again? This is the Lord Chief Justice's office, Naruhodo-san, in the Supreme Court of Great Britain. The Lord Chief Justice. We had instructions to report here at this time. If circumstances were different, we were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan. But Kazuma can't. No. So instead, we are here in a different capacity. As envoys, to report the news of Kazuma-sama's death. Yes. And having delivered his or her message, an envoy's duty is done. So we'd have to return to Japan. Wait, what happened to the whole thing? I guess, like, you know, Ryunosuke said he was going to study to take Kazuma's place. I'm assuming we have to get, like, permission from somebody to do that. As, like, the exchange student, I suppose. How shitty would that be to have to travel, like, 6 months, deliver the message, oh yeah, sorry, Kazuma is dead and he won't be able to, you know, to come, and then you have to get back on and you have to get home, which takes another, like, you spend a year to deliver a message. Oof. If we want to remain here in Great Britain, I have to take Kazuma's place as the law student selected for the study tour. Yes, which means you need the requisite qualifications as a lawyer, which is what I've been studying for. Here in Great Britain, it is the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. So that's the second reason why we're here, to have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way we'll be able to remain here in London. No pressure. I hope I'm up to scratch. Susato's been training him, so she's probably like, don't let me down. Ah, good morning. Sorry for keeping you. Whoa, okay. You are interesting looking. Oh, I trust you aren't too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan. It seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. Oh, no, don't mention it. We're never happier than when we're standing around with nothing much to do. How fortunate. So, introductions. I am Male Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire. Ugh, and I feel like a little mouse under an elephant's foot. Come on, Mr. Naruhodo, don't be a mouse. Oh, it's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the Empire of Japan. I'm just imagining him like, Apollo, where he just yells, and it's like, whoa, okay, calm down. Well, Mr. Naruhodo. Welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Yes, thank you. So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Oh, help. I've been so nervous ever since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city. It's simply splendid. Isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh? We had a wonderful view of some of London's streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say, I'm almost lost for words. I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts tramways, piped water and gas, even cables supplying electricity. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astounded. I guess, yes, it's slightly better, like, you know, now that they have, like, the running pipes for water and stuff. Like, I go down these rabbit holes of watching history videos on YouTube and just, like, I think it was more the late 1800s when they didn't, like, London didn't have, like, proper plumbing, and people would just, like, go to the washroom in the, like, basically in buckets and then just dump them out onto the streets, or like poop or pee in the river, and apparently it was just a horrible place. But of course this is like the cleaned up sterile version, and little bits fantastical. Oh yes, astounded is the word. Thanks for saving me there, Susato-san. And everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. Yes, there's much excitement about the upcoming great exhibition we'll be hosting here in London. Great exhibition? Cultural and technological achievements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It will be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history, and will make Paris's World Fair look like a toy shop. Gosh, I can hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. Great Britain's capital city is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world. Even if you do say so yourself, the sun will never set on our great empire. Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun. Lord Chief Justice, I think you were expecting a student of law for the study tour, weren't you? Absolutely. Mr. Kazuma Osogi, if my memory serves. That's right. The British government has already been telegraphed a full report on the situation. I understand the young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores. It's amazing. The news reached him before we even arrived. He's like, why are we even here? I mean, I know why. It's so that he can take his place, but... My country naturally extends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. And you honored this appointment specifically to inform me of the news? Yes. We are here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese are a people of protocol and courtesy, and I see that it's true. And it is with some regret that I must inform you that the death of the young lawyer means this study tour arrangement can no longer proceed. If you would just hear us out, Lord Strongheart. What do you have to say, madam? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo here would like to make a proposal. Would he now? Well, Mr. Naruhodo, this is it then, the moment of truth. The thing is, Lord Justice, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you would consider allowing the study tour to go ahead. Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead. But without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean. Is there something I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country, and that was Mr. Osogi. At least, that is what I've been led to understand. Well, the thing is, this really isn't going well at all. I just can't seem to find the right words to say to this man. And of course, Susato is always like steps in and has to save the day. She should be the protagonist. Mr. Naruhodo, I could ruin things here if I'm not careful. What am I going to... She's like, I trained with you for like however many months. Like, come on, don't let it all go to waste. There is someone I hear from Japan who could be described as a lawyer. It's Miss Susato. Okay, I'm gonna start picking the bad options because I gotta start doing that more because it's funny. It can probably only be, yes, Miss Susato. Women can't be lawyers. We know this because women don't know anything, even though Susato has saved our ass so many times and she just seems to know everything. An unusual introduction, but I presume you mean this charming lady beside you. You're a lawyer, are you? Susato's like, I'm gonna kill you. That look she's giving me. After all the days of hard work she put in to help me study. I can't let her down now. What if that was just game over? That was it. I think that's quite enough joking. Don't you, Lord Strongheart? My real answer is, it's me. I can do it. Is that so? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications as such, but... No qualifications, you say, and yet you still claim to be a lawyer. I have acted as a lawyer in court before. Only once, as it happens. And I had Kazuma to help me, and I was the accused, but glossing over the details. I've been spending every spare moment on the journey here to Great Britain studying. I've learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Buria. The voyage from Japan is some 50 days, I believe. Not what you might call a full education. To become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. I realize it's far too short a period of time, but I can't just go back to Japan. He's like, please, please, I don't want to go back on that boat. Kazuma, Mr. Osoki's journey had only just begun. Coming here on the study tour was all he thought about. I have to carry on and do everything he planned to do. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I would do anything to prove I have what it takes. Any test you care to set me. Just one chance. That's all I'm asking for. Please. 31 seconds. Sorry? Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruhodo. It was 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly judged appeal, I would say. Which is a skill that would stand you in good stead as a lawyer. I would be terrible. I would be rambling and rambling and rambling and be like, no. That's gonna be a no from me. Oh, thanks. So, you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. Huh? But let me ask you one thing first, sir. Yes? You say you intend to do everything Mr. Osoki planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? So here's where maybe we're gonna figure out what the heck Kazuma's like true purpose for coming here was, because he had a mission he was setting out to do. Well, yes, that's my intention. I see. Am I imagining things? Or did his expression just alter a fraction there all of a sudden? Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. Really? So, what form will the test take exactly? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, what do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Well said. So, let's have you defend someone. Huh? Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an apt trial about to begin later today. Oh, well, there we go. I had a feeling we'd have a trial this time, but no advocate has been appointed for the defenses yet, so this will be welcome news. Ryunosuke is probably just like, I'm just so happy it's not me being put on trial for once. Today? Straight away? If you manage to secure a verdict of not guilty, you'll have passed my test. What could be simpler? Ugh, how do I get myself into these situations? Well, could I ask, what sort of trial is it, Lord Strongheart? Yes, good question. Ah, I remember. Murder! It's a murder trial. A murder? It's funny, it's like, you would think that that is like the only type of trials that there are in the world of Ace Attorney. It's never anything like simple or like, it's not like, you know, a traffic ticket, drug charges, things like that. It's always murder. But I guess, I mean, that's what makes it more interesting. What if there was a spin-off where like, it wasn't murder cases, it was just like minor crimes? Extremely simple case, I understand. You really can't lose. That's easy to say. But I should mention, just in case, if the defendant is found guilty, he will of course be sentenced to capital punishment. Capital punishment? He'll be put to death? Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows without exception. Presumably, you read that much in your short sea-based introduction to British law. We can't possibly agree to such a test. We would be toying with a man's life. I am the Lord Chief Justice, and I have decided it's acceptable. But you can't do that, can you? Is this guy gonna be the villain? Is something that Kazuma wanted to do to change things, does it have to do with this guy at all? Does it have to do with capital punishment in general? Except I don't think, at least from what I remember, the last time someone was publicly executed wasn't that long ago. I think it was in France, but I think it was in like the 1960s, if I'm not mistaken. There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure you don't lose. So the defendant may live or die, depending on how well I perform in court. If it's such an easy trial, why does the guy not have a lawyer already? It's almost like this guy was expecting this and decided to just, like, give me this trial, expecting me to lose. If I lose, he'll be hanged. Mr. Naruhodo, you've come to me claiming to be a lawyer. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say that you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. He's testing my resolve. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. Shit, man, won't even get to investigate? I need an answer from you now. What will it be? I mean, I said I wanted a trial, but I guess it is kind of like what happened in the first one, where it's like I kind of learned everything on the fly. I didn't get a chance to, like, investigate the crime scene or anything. So it's just, I guess I'll just have to pick everything up as I go. What do I say? Do I agree to this absurd test? Okay, I'm gonna save first, just in case if I say I won't do it, it just automatically fails me, and then it's like game over. I won't do it. Alright then, if I have to give you a decision now, my answer is... Ah, of course, I knew that was gonna happen. I can't do it. I can't get the words out. 15 seconds. Your decision-making needs work if you want to be a lawyer. That was too slow. So, it's as I suspected, is it? Sorry? You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is cancelled. Oh, thank you for stopping by. Well, okay. Game over. Go and acquire your ticket for passage back to the east tomorrow. This conversation is over. Well. Yes, Lord Strongheart. Okay. Thank you for offering me a chance. Well, I thought it was just going to be a thing of, like, I was going to be like, wait, no, I agree, but wow, it's just like, and Susato's like, you really, like, all that work for nothing, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but what could I do? It's all right, I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, but resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. Oh. Oh, okay, never mind. All right, we're flipping back around here. What are you trying to say, madam? I think what Miss Susato means is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance at a trial so trivially would be utterly unforgivable, and I feel exactly the same way. Oh, okay, they're going another way then. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. Maybe I'll convince him, be like, okay, maybe you don't have the resolve, but you have the heart, and you've got compassion. Although, I don't really see a lot of compassion in this guy. I could see him the type to be like, do whatever it takes to get the results. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day, but for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief Justice. Oh, okay. So is that it? Oh, wait, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay, I was just like, they keep flipping flopping on me. I'm like, oh, was there something else? It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time. But I just said that I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him. What? At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. Oh, that's how he's gonna get him. Be like, well, I gotta give him a chance, or else he's just gonna die regardless. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. He will receive the most severe sentence the judge can pass down. But that's awful. But that is the truth. I'm guessing this is what Kazuma's trying to, like, this is what he wants to, like, he sees this as unfair. Like, that does seem unfair if you don't get a defense, like, you automatically are found guilty and you get hanged. Why does it have to be like this? Please don't expect an answer to every question. The cold, hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that is you. I'm really his only hope? So, what do you say now, madam? Me? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances. And I agree. But in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve. This is interesting. Wow, if I hadn't picked the whole thing about, like, I won't do it, I would have missed all this conversation. Oh. Our time is up here. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. He's gone. The Old Bailey. If we're going to do this, Mr. Naruhodo, we must leave at once. Alright. Man, oh man, like, I was not expecting to be thrown into it like this. I was expecting to be able to at least, like, you know, do a little bit of investigating beforehand. Let's hope we run into Herlock somehow and he'll be able to give us some information. Maybe he'll be like what's the word I'm thinking of? When they bring people to the witness stand as, like, experts, you know? Oh, thank goodness. We're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial. I mean, obviously, Herlock and I are going to be, like, meeting up again. But wouldn't that be crazy if, like, he was on the prosecutor's side and we had to, like, fight against him? I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. It's one of my favorite lines from the Herlock Sholmes stories, and it worked quite perfectly. I'm not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were going to die, and we had to pay gold for the privilege. They're in pretty high spirits given that they're literally about to go and defend someone that they haven't met yet, and they don't know anything about the circumstances, I'd imagine. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. Yes, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here, but there's no sign of him at all. What if Herlock is the person I have to defend? So this is the Old Bailey. Even this room for defendants to wait in is grand. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever is about to be sentenced. It feels like only yesterday that I was the one about to be crushed. Yes, whoever the man your defend is, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Top of the morning to you, madam. Sir? Okay, never mind. What are yous doing following me here? Tings are fair desperate, are they? Sorry? Would you look at those expressionless faces? From the east, are yous? We're from Japan, yes. Ah, Japan, is it? Right, say no more. I was really hoping maybe it would be Herlock. How amazing would that have been? So, how much do yous need? No, we're just here because... No need to explain, fella. I've been there myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name, and all while in a strange, faraway land. Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. 'Tis grand, 'tis grand. Let me start by giving yous 1,000 guineas. Say nothin' now. 1,000 guineas? Please, Miss Susato, you don't have to shout. But 1,000 guineas is... is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? 'Tis nuttin' to me at all. I like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see. I have enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. Could that much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. Ah, that hit me in the eye. Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving it to you, no strings attached. I'll be wanting you to do something for me. Oh? To be honest, 'tis a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, is for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'd be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, the thing is, don't worry about a ting. All you have to do is stand up there next to me. Nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial is going to start without me having any kind of representation at all. So it was true. The Lord Chief Justice wasn't just making it all up. All the more reason why it's a little sus that, like, if this guy is so rich, why he's not able to get anyone to defend him. Either this is a case that lawyers found is basically indefendable, or this guy is a little bit more like maybe he's a sham, he's a scam artist or something. I don't know. I'm terribly sorry to have to ask, but does this mean you're the defendant in this trial? Bluster and blazes, do you not know who I am? Me? One of London's biggest names? No, sorry, we've only just arrived in the city, you see. I see. I suppose it ain't altogether impossible. Well, just next to Hyde Park, there in the center of London, is another beautiful park. Sorry? A park? What? 'Tis called McGilded Park, full of blossoming flowers in the spring and singing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did. An entire park? In central London? A city of smiles, that's my vision for London. There's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its queer old people. That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary. But now they've the gall to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What is the matter with the London police, I ask you? Alright, don't pass out. Mr. Naruhodo. Hey, we were going to defend him for free, so if we can get enough money to build a mansion in Tokyo, bonus. Perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves while the gentleman catches his breath. Good idea. I want to ask why nobody is going to defend this guy. Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I after saying, you daft idiot? I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Well, yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry? I know what you're thinking. This chancer of a fella claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he— Yes! Why can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Because he did it. That's the only explanation. Well? Well... Exactly. Yes, exactly. Not a good first impression. What now? Well, like you said, if you have all that money but you don't have anyone to represent you in court, there's no other logical conclusion than you're guilty of the charges. Well, you call a spade in the East, so you do. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean any offense. I still can't express myself very well in English, you see. And I'm never sure what's acceptable to say and what isn't, so... Is that so? Because you sounded fluent enough when you were telling me what a blackguard I must be. I'm terribly sorry. Wahaha. He's like, I like your honesty. I can't say that I blame you for thinking it, fella. It is a little strange, to be honest. Why you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. Sorry? Did he just say Reaper? I, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Barrick Van Zeeks. Barrick Van Zeeks? I don't know if that's right, but he's the prosecutor. The prosecutor is the Grim Reaper? When Van Zeek stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. Oh, I can't wait to see this guy. He's probably going to be such an anime villain-looking motherfucker. And to this day, like, I'm having, like, images of, like, Simon Blackwell from the Dual Destinies. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. What if he shows up in, like, one of those, what are they called? The guys with the bird masks and stuff, just looking really creepy. What? So it's reached the desperate situation where there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fellow at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness, Lord Barrick Van Zeeks. He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madam. It's cursed. Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned, and his counsel. Please make your way into the courtroom. The trial is about to begin. His counsel, that would be me. Oh, 'tis time. Well then, fella, don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. Until you showed your face here. I'd made up me mind, so I had. Sorry? I decided I'd have to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? But then you made an appearance, a student of law, wouldn't you know? 'Tis no accident, I can assure you of that. 'Tis fate. So don't get cold feet now, please. I literally know nothing about the case, or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. Mr. Naruhodo, the man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom, armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes, something that Kazuma would never have allowed to happen. Counsel for the defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you will lose your right to stand. I'll be right there. It's happening then. My first trial in a British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. And I'm guessing he probably doesn't have any secret powers like Maya where he can summon Kazuma. What if Kazuma showed, like, through the sword? I doubt that he'd be able to bring a sword into a British courtroom. But, like, what if Kazuma's spirit, like, came through the sword and started talking to him, giving him advice? Because Phoenix had Maya, and that was a pretty big, you know, advantage. But, ooh, okay, this isn't intimidating at all. Okay, we've got multiple people. That's interesting. So this is the highest court in Great Britain, the Old Bailey. The centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court in Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? She's like, don't fuck this up. Oh, yes, what? Maybe work on the eye thing? Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. I know, but I just can't help it. Okay, yeah, he does look kind of scary, yeah. And he looks like Santa. He doesn't look very scary. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. The prosecutor looks like a vampire. We're here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilded. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. But he asked if the defense was ready. And I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. Well, this guy looks like he's got a sword, so I should be allowed to have one too. Those eyes please me, Nipponese. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. Ugh, a cold shiver just ran down my spine all the way to the tips of my toes. Now, Mr. McGilded. Yes, my lord. You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You could be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? As I've always said, my lord, 'tis a grand thing to give opportunities to the young, even if the fellow's a student from some little island off in the Far East. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? I'd like to think that acts of chivalry do the great British Empire proud. Listen to Mr. McGilded. What a fine gentleman London has in him. Did you hear he donated £5,000 to the government the other day? Mother, please, may we go and play in McGilded Park? It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. That's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Maybe he'd do a better job at defending himself than I would, but... Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, and most laudable sentiments. That's an easy, that's like a very nice, wrapped up way of saying, literally nobody will defend me, so I had no choice. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? And this guy's just flicking a damn knife around. Apparently, the courtrooms here are pretty lax on weapons. Yes, my lord. If the task is to send rotters to the gallows where they belong, I am more than ready. At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Ha! Any criminals here will soon be wishing they never set eyes on me. I feel a chill. Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. She's gonna be the most diabolical of all of them, I'm guessing. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, those people are... The jury, yes. That's something we don't have in Japan yet. That's right. I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. But how exactly do the jurors give their verdict? That I don't know, but I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. Yes. Prosecutor Van Zeeks. My lord. It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you'd renounced your fame. I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. So, what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstances of which the court should be aware? I leave that to your imagination, my lord. So the Reaper has been out of action for 5 years, and he's like, of course he comes back when, you know, I have to do the defending. Why did he have to choose today of all days to make a comeback? Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm gonna guess Kazuma, like, his whole thing is all wrapped up in the Chief Justice and this guy here. There's probably something going on. They're all connected somehow. As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. You must be the only ones in here who aren't aware. The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks, known in the community as Thrice-Fired Mason. Sorry? Thrice? He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible. The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Here's the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard. Thank you, counsel. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence. Okay, Scotland Yard. Maybe Herlock will make an appearance at some point, because he works for Scotland Yard, I believe. And one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well. And these are... Good lord. Is that blood, counsel? Yes, my lord. Seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. Well, that was important information I could have learned beforehand. What? Mr. McGilded's gloves had blood on them? Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well. I'll have to take a look at the actual stuff later on. How did I get into this? I'm backed into a corner before I've even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. So when the Chief Justice said that this was going to be a simple case or a simple trial, didn't really mean it seemed like in my favor. It seems more against me. Only 2? Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded. Well, rather damning circumstances to say the least. Defendant, what say you? Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. Mr. McGilded. To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I always succumb to it. Are you claiming to have been asleep? 'Tis the motion of the carriage, my lord. Lilton, so it is, and when I opened my eyes again. 'Twas a desperate sight before me, the body of a man I'd never laid eyes on before me in my life. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fellow bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So the blood got onto the gloves then, after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, that statement of the driver's is only the beginning. What? That's not all of it? There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. Order, order, order. When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage, and there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses, first of all. Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. I love how every, prosecutor and defense, there's just such flourish. The, court proceedings would be so much more interesting in the real world if they were, literal characters dressing up like vampires and whatnot. bringing in weapons. Alright, so I'm oh boy. So there's 3 right off the bat. I'm gonna have to do that whole thing where I have to check each of them as I'm going over the cross-examination. Witnesses, your name and occupations. My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city. My name's First. Lady First. I make hats for gents. Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, and a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witnessed to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Quite right. Yes, sir. That's right, sir. Very well, then. Let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then, out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too. Unambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. Alright, we're gonna have to go over the evidence. I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Yes, counsel. Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could these 2 witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. Is there, like, an obvious reason why they could have, and Ryunosuke is the only one who's unaware of that? How quaint. I'd read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. You're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you ever traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We, only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves. The actual scene of the crime, that is. Okay, so I will get to see the scene of the crime. What do you mean? The actual scene? How? The carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably, you understand that much. Yes. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today, in this very building. Here? What? The entire carriage? Bailiff! Bring forth the stricken omnibus. So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. Like, do they have like a trap door that just brings it up? As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. 4 passengers seated inside in the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guests that there is a skylight to the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. Oh, a skylight. Oh! The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on the omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. Okay, so they were on the exact... Okay, for some reason I thought they were, like, in a separate omnibus, like, and they were side by side and saw it happen, but... Oh, that makes perfect sense. Well, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecutor's wish. Or prosecution's wish. Very well, I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence? Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Let us continue with proceedings, then. Your cross-examination, counsel. Pray don't expect this Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. Alright, my first cross-examination in a British court. Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus. Okay, I gotta try and remember how to do that whole thing where I can, like, look over and see if anybody else, Alright, I'm just gonna press everything for now. Why not? Try and get as much information as possible.
Hold it!
Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh, yes, sir. That's right, sir. Yes, ever so cold it was. Freezing, in fact. Okay, so there we go. That's how I look over. Everybody seems good so far. And you had 4 passengers on board at the time. Is that correct? Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same part of the bus, of course, though. No.
Excuse me.
Oh, wow, I didn't mean to... If I may, Mr. Vila, he did nothing. Whoops. What are you fossicking for now? That last statement appears to have given you pause for thought. No, it really didn't. I just slip of the mouse. Not really. Whoops. I gotta get used to this again. By the way, you always seem to be looking to the side, one way or another. Do you have some affliction? Not really. He's not really willing to say anything, it seems. It's none of your business anyhow. Okay, so I got something from that. It's true, yeah. I wonder if there's something with the side of his face. Anyway, the victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage? That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. There was a lamp on inside, so I had a pretty good view. No, but you couldn't see the faces. The 2 of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded. How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? McGilded is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. There's no room for doubt here. Ugh, I really wish there was. Then, out of the blue, the accused reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts.
Hold it!
You actually saw the exact moment it happened. Didn't I already testify to that? Okay, alright, he's looking at me. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong with his face. Or are fair, dinkum, hardworking city bankers not considered trustworthy these days? Oh, no, I didn't mean that. This is no good. I've really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's... My lord. Juror number 3. Oh, okay, so now the jurors are coming into play here. What is the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. You're dressed like a stinking rich guy. They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Oh no, if I, like, screw up too many times, are people gonna start, like, putting in their guilty verdicts and then I fucked? Well, he can't fool me. Once they put in their verdict, is that it? Can they change their mind, or is it set? Okay, so here's the new mechanic here. Uh-oh, so like if I press too much, if I'm going in the wrong direction, I could screw things up. There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. That is precisely what I was about to say. Oh no, we're gonna lose 2 of them already. Shit. As the foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. What's happening here? You should know about this, Ryunosuke. I would assume that you would have learned about this in your studies. Let me see. Yes, it seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one, they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Ugh, now I'm even more worried than I was before. So am I. I'm just like, man, I wasn't even done, like, I know that's a predetermined thing that was going to happen, but, like, I'm not even done pressing the statements of the very first cross-examination, and we've already got 2 people who voted. Very well, the court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. Ah, this is a nightmare. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed I did. Couldn't help it. Okay. He stabbed him, you say, and you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. Okay. So far, no changes, it looks like. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I've been thinking about a new hat design, you see, so I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly, that huge great knife. Okay, let me check the court record. I didn't really get a chance to actually check out the, Oh, the armband I inherited from Kazuma identifies the wearer as a defense lawyer throughout the Empire of Japan. Aw. Okay, so let's actually... Can we check this out right now? Okay. Time of death between 10 and 11 p.m. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife while journeying in an omnibus. Died due to internal hemorrhaging resulting from the trauma. That's it? Okay. Okay, a photograph of the victim taken on the omnibus. The knife is in his abdomen is clearly visible, but his face is partially obscured from view by an old crooked hat. So that's going to be probably important, the fact that his hat, or his face was somewhat, Oh, well, right there I see something is torn, like a button is torn. Oh yeah, there's a button missing from his vest. Nothing about that right now that seems to be of importance, so let's go ahead, we'll just go back, and we'll just finish the cross-examination before we get to the evidence. A grim sight indeed. Oh, that didn't help me at all. The jury looks like they're even more convinced my client did it than they were before. That appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGilded is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Mr. First. Oh, yes? Yes, sir? Is this the knife you saw? Oh, good grief. Yes, that's it. The very one, sir. Okay, let's look around. Nobody else seems to be reacting about it. Okay. Is that... Yes, counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. Vampire. This guy's totally a vampire. That is a blade of considerable size, counsel. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. Oh no, the letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Ugh, please, no. M. For Magnus, perhaps? Or McGilded, perhaps? Take your pick. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake. Oh no. But there are M's everywhere. Like, yes. Like in Mason.
Objection!
This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Ugh. And I bet McGilda is gonna say like, oh yeah, that's mine, but I didn't actually stab him with it, I was sleeping. And that's gonna look even more suspect, because they're gonna ask McGilda to be like, hey, is that yours? Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, counsel. My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption. Ah, juror number 2. Go on. Oh no. Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman. And a gentleman's word should be, sacrosanct? However... Oh, shit. God damn it. Those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to dispose of the rubbish? Damn it, I was hoping she was going to be on our side. Wow. Okay, so that's half the jury already. Like, we just started. No. I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. Can you guys retract those, please? I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion. Okay, this is ridiculous. What in the world? Not again. That's 4 out of 6 jury members who proposed a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. We've had it. Every time I press these witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. Oh man, is that the game telling me not to press the witnesses? Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. Exactly, like I need more information, but it feels like by pressing, I'm screwing myself over. I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. We mustn't give up hope. We'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. But... Alright, I'll keep trying. I can't give up. I feel like I'm getting 2 conflicting statements from the game, being like, the more we press, the worse it gets, but also, keep pressing. I need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. Alright.
Hold it!
What exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir, that would be the passenger, sir. Yes, collapsed on the floor he was. And by the passenger, obviously, you're referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And the other passenger had the knife in his hand like this. By the other passenger, obviously, you're referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilded. I don't know why I keep stumbling over McGilded, and then he plunged it down like this, stabbing the other passenger in the belly. Wait, no. Didn't he say he was only stabbed once? Hold up. Okay, no reactions from... Okay, let me double check again. Because they're saying that he took the knife out and stabbed him again. Okay, let's check this out. Once in the abdomen. Okay, I'm pressing this right now. Can I... Okay, I'm gonna let him continue on with that, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna... Yeah. What? Order! Okay, is he gonna add to that statement? It's hard to believe of one of London's greatest philanthropists, but this is damning indeed. The law knows no philanthropists, my lord, only the innocent and the guilty. Good deeds mean nothing when overshadowed by evil. The truth is everything. Couldn't agree more, sir. The truth. Alright, so when it happened, the only 2 people in the enclosed cabin were the victim and the defendant. And, so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend do the deed. I don't like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here. Ugh. What am I supposed to think here? Is Mr. McGilded really innocent? Okay, at least I have one thing I can show evidence for. Or could it be? Before we jump to conclusions, our first task should be to gather information. We need to understand the case much better than we do at the moment. Yes, you're absolutely right. Let's listen to those witness statements again. A little more carefully this time. Okay, so it was when I pressed that, is there no way for me to add that thing about him saying that... Okay, I'm gonna press that again. I want to be able to add that thing to the... Like, that seems like a big thing to add. Like, can you add a statement to that, saying that you saw him take the knife out and plunge it into him again? Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try and present the evidence as is. Yeah, so let's present and see if that works. So, present. No, it didn't work. Oh, he's raising his hand again. There's clearly something odd about that last statement made by the witness. There's clearly something odd here indeed. Your behavior, counsel. Damn it. Oh, haha. Please don't mind me. That would be significantly easier if you'd lower your hand. I won't lower my hand until I prove my client's innocent. As long as it's quite quick. Shit, okay. Alright, I'm gonna save. I don't want to run out of all my stuff right away. Okay, so let's press. Okay, maybe let's try looking to see if anybody, like... Because nobody else is testifying. Like, nobody said anything about the fact that he got stabbed twice. So I'm just like, do I have to... There's still no reaction from them. Now, is this where I'm... Let me try. Let me see if I can do it here. Oh, okay, so... Shit, okay, so I can look at the court record, but I can't actually present anything right now. I don't know what to do. I'm all... Like, this is the beginning and I'm already stuck. Shit. I'm so mad that the game won't let me, like... That's a clear contradiction to what is, like, in our court record, and I'm just like, I can't do anything about it, it seems like. Ugh. Alright, I'm just gonna... I guess I'll just have to press again. I don't know if we're gonna be getting anything new, but maybe I can at least see if anybody reacts to anything. Yeah, so far, nothing. Oh wait, is this new information? So there was absolutely no other passengers. You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers, none. Okay, let's... So nobody fled. Okay, so we're getting some new information. Okay, okay. So nobody fled the scene of the crime then. I have to say, the boss insists on running. On it running, he does. Every evening, the last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, so sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Well, what with it being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the run, you see. Yes, I spend that much at the pub on the way home just trying to warm up again. I just can't believe it, sir. Can't believe it. A murder on my own bus? It's too awful to think about. I haven't even been able to shake this cold ever since it happened. My lord, I wish to speak. Oh no. Yes, juror number 5? Do I take it that you too? As the master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself. Oh, god damn it. But I've heard enough now. The horse is bolted, as they say. No, 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 please, just keep an open mind a little long. Yep, now, Silverblaze, the finish is in sight. Well, shit. I'm just gonna keep pressing, and that's one more person, and that's it. What am I supposed to do? Beppo is a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. Ugh, this is too unkind, sir. Which now means that 5 jurors agree to condemn this man. Oh, this is like the quickest, this is like speed running, this goddamn... Yeah, it's the old lady, she's the only one who's holding out. Maybe she'll be a tough nut to crack. Madam, juror number 6? Yes, dear? What can I do for you? You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand. It's like he wants a speed run. He's like, I want to beat my record. Oh yes, I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know. Then, pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning? Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day, and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. McGilded Park, it's called. Aw, she's holding out hope she's gonna be the last one. Maybe she'll hold on to the very end. She's the only one that's keeping this goddamn trial still going. The gentleman donated it to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' face, he said. Faces. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. He's always doing wonderful things for the city. That's right. A man like that wouldn't stab someone, surely. Mother, may we go to the McGilded Public Library later and borrow some books? How many Londoners live with their heads in their clouds? Do you people not know what kind of a man Magnus McGilded really is? What kind of man is he? The philanthropist, Magnus McGilded, has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of souls. What? Stone the crows! McGilded lends money at extraordinary rates of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He's a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard any mention of that before. Oh boy, that doesn't mean anything about his guilt or innocence. Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So, has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? Oh. What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service? Good point, good point. Oh no. You're not saying that the victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name, save considerable financial liability. It will come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused, Magnus McGilded. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts. Oh boy. Good gracious. The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And, in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him. His life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGilded. I don't believe it. If I might add something briefly, Miss Susato. You claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded. But where's the evidence to support your claim? Oh, he's probably got it. I'm guessing he didn't say that statement without having some sort of evidence. That's totally blood. That's blood. He's a vampire. He's totally a vampire. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice in a court of law. Well, it's a very chill, like, I'm just gonna have some alcohol. Aha, there it is. Lord Van Zeek's hallowed chalice. How can this be considered acceptable? Well, you got a sword on your hip there, Ryunosuke. It's pretty lax here. But I find myself in unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. Oh. As judicial assistant to the defense, I'm simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You'll find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice and a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. I mean, okay, he's kind of a villain, but he's at least he's very polite, and he... A marvelous toast, counsel. I'll gladly accept this new evidence. 20 guineas? I mean, like, I'm sure that's not an insignificant amount of money. Well, yeah, I imagine that's actually, because what did he say? He said he was going to give us 1,000 guineas, and that would apparently be enough money to build a mansion in Tokyo. So 20 guinea, I don't know what the exchange rate of that would be. Probably, though, not an insignificant amount of money, but not enough for murder. Ah, yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum. And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Well, it would seem I've had the wool pulled over my eyes. Oh, shit. Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused. And it's such a pretty little park, too. What a scoundrel. Shit. What? Okay, what? No. Still. What? Maybe it's all for the best. What? Wait a minute. Let's think about this. I don't stand for nonsense. What the fuck? So that's it. Okay. That shit. That's what can we do? That's it. That's the quickest trial ever. That was it. The last juror's decision. Susato, please help. Is there some sort of loophole? Maybe? According to this Encyclopedia of British Law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. Oh, that sounds like that's it then. That's what it says. The final verdict. It's over then. Oh, she found something. There's a footnote, though. A footnote. However, the defense... no. Hey, now. All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial by delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no objections. Objections? Triggered. That's the word. You're supposed to object. Listen, what did Susato was gonna say something? Come on. Miss Susato, just tell me one thing. Oh, yes? You were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your Encyclopedia of British Law. However, the defense. What did it say next? Oh, yes, of course. One moment. When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. Then the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. Oh, summation examination of the jurors. Okay. Oh, I'm going to have to examine all the jurors? A summation examination?
Objection!
A summation examination? From which century has that tome you have there been resurrected? Uh-oh. Judging from the binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antique procedure a mention. Yeah, but it doesn't say... Okay, saying that it's not going to give it a mention, but it doesn't mean that it's not something I can do. Oh, the ultimate loophole. It's a relic, long forgotten, and certainly no longer practiced. Judge, you will be the deciding factor on this, if we can do it or not, so you're out of luck. Oh. Come on. Oh, did you see? I don't know if he was just, like, pushing it up to his arm, but it almost seemed like he touched it, because that was Kazuma's. He's like, Kazuma, like, what do I do? Give me strength. What even is it, Miss Susato? This so-called summation examination. Oh, one moment. I'll read about it. You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails. Typical Nipponese. Alright, Mr. Naruhodo, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we would be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what exactly? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that, if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decisions. Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use the summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision. But that procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit, really, so it rather fell out of use. I wonder why. Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age. Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked. Oh, Susato, MVP! I love this girl. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that although it may be antiqued and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? A summation examination. Our last possible option. Do we assert our right to carry it out and admit defeat? Forget it. I know, Susato. I know you tried, but okay, I'm going to save once again. I know it's probably going to do a thing where he's just going to be like, no, this is our last hope. I can't give up now, but I'm still going to save first. I'm going to try and pick the bad options as often as possible. Forget it. I know we came all the way here and, you know, we're doing this for Kazuma, but what's a little bit of, you know, like extra hard work? I don't feel like it. Mr. Naruhodo, are you sure that's the right decision? No, it's absolutely not the right decision. You heard what the judge and prosecutor said. It's an antiqued procedure. It's history. Or, no, antiquated. Oh, there I am saying the wrong word. Antiquated procedure. Ugh. We barely know our way around the law that's in use today. What hope would we have of pulling it off? She's like, she is pissed. Perhaps what we don't know can work to our advantage. She's like, I went to all this work, and you're just gonna throw it all away. Sorry? In any case, there's really only one course of action available to us here. What we can't afford to do is allow this trial to end. What we don't know can work to our advantage. You're right, Miss Susato. Let's bring this antiquated procedure back into the present day. There you go. That sounds a little bit more forceful. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
But if it's our right, it's our right. I believe it could prove vital in this trial. The defense's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summation examination. This is madness. Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? Eh? Well, I'm not, there was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so all members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. On what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Well, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot. This is most irregular. No mention was made of this before. I don't really hold with all this justifying lark. It seems to have thrown the jurors off. It seems none of them have experienced this before. All right then. Summation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for to turn this trial around. So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant, Magnus McGilted, guilty of this most serious crime. Alright guys, that will do it for episode 7 of my Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We're finally back in the courtroom once again, kind of thrown in very unexpectedly and swiftly, and obviously dealing with a whole new type of courtroom here. So we're going to go ahead and I guess we're going to press the jury and see if we can change their minds. I assume so. That quite threw me for a loop, be like, oh, I fucked up, but looks like we're going to have another chance to do this, so that will happen in the next episode, and see what we can do, and find out more about this Mr. McGilded, and see if he is the type of person that the prosecutor says he is, and doesn't really matter at the end of the day. All that matters is he guilty or is he innocent, and we're going to find that out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned next week for part 8. Until then, bye. Special shoutouts to my top tier patrons: Nana, Sparky, Dumbass Loser, Tequila Mockingbird, Puncake G, Derek Nickel, Harry Gazif, Asborn Kennedy, and Icognito.